Even... But even on a day like this, I don't feel I can ever say that I've been much of an optimist. For all the hard work I've... especially proven right now. For all the hard work I've done over the years, and I've spent a lot of time studying and whatnot, I never reached the point where I could just say I was absolutely, positively sure I would do well, and that everything would turn out fine and dandy. Maybe I'm just a little neurotic. On the other hand, I've always preferred to say that I'm simply optimistically pessimistic, or as I've heard it tactfully put before, you're a freaking nihilist. Hard work, in my mind, is never assured that one will succeed, and the inverse has always been just as false. Just because I'm here right now doesn't mean that in 10 years I won't hold out my hand and say, "Senor, por favor." Not exactly how I planned it, but... The Greek philosopher Diagoras once observed that, although we hear stories of those who tried and succeeded, nowhere do we hear stories of those who tried their very best and in the end still failed. Statistically speaking, our brains are subject to a rather large sampling error. We as people, as nations, as a species, might see the world as our playground, where I can expect that picture of me to never appear on Facebook, which is not remotely true, where one nation can run on faith and fear alone, where we can cut down another forest or pick a new SUV with little regard for our environmental impact. However, this clearly would be wrong. Our minds are unconsciously founded on the erroneous belief of our own metaphysical mastery of the world. It hurts to have good hearing sometimes. We cannot expect to find, within a proton or neutron, a good ton or evil ton. We may, on the other hand, expect the LHC in Switzerland to find proof of a Higgs boson particle before creating a black hole or two. We face a universe which Camus once described as indifferent. In this reality, what bonds do we have? We face the loss of our teleology, accompanied by what some have termed the unbearable lightness of being. Meaning, which once held such priority, is found to be a shoddy smear upon our perception. Yet, it is in our nature to forgive this universe an anthropomorphic sheen, so that we may maintain order. If the rules of the universe and the rules of man are not one and the same, then where does that leave us? Ultimately, all we can truly hope to know is ourselves. No degree of solipsism can take that away, and any less would be a surrender of our sentience, an epistemological suicide. Although we may not know what will happen, whether the cosmos will ensure that tomorrow Central Ave will have green lights as far as the eye can see, or whether it might have been better to take a side street, we can hope to at least know our intent. What that requires of a person is introspection. In the words of Buddha, meditation brings wisdom, lack of meditation brings ignorance. Know well what brings you forth, and what holds you back. It's odd how the idea of such metacognition is considered odd, when regular cognition can be just as fallacious. There's that fear, I suppose. Doesn't mean that. There's that fear, I suppose. There's that fear, I suppose, that with just a peek we could fall into an infinite regress, an incompleteness theorem for the system of the mind, the paradoxical thought of, I think I might be lying. But we are stronger than that, and as far as I know, no one has died from thinking about thinking yet, though plenty of people might have gone crazy. But nevertheless, never be afraid to question why you do what you do, and ask if that's really what you want. Nothing could be worse than the day we are able to say, we are satisfied, because the pursuit of any truth has no end. It is not for those who dream of confronting the eschatology of existence and nodding their heads. It is a Sisyphean burden, and with every accomplishment comes a new obstacle, because in the end, such is life. Such absurdity must never be looked upon with horror. It can be, must be appreciated for what it is. There are times when my little schemes have all lined up, and when all was said and done, everything worked out perfectly. Then there are times like when I failed to notice the test I was taking had a back, and I drew a rather crude picture of a train for the next 20 minutes. But what's important is being able to appreciate life throughout and never turning away from existence, whether through delusions or ignorance. Through it all, one must possess a stoic amor fati, and finally, be able to laugh at every single moment of it, like a good part of my speech. And if one cannot laugh, all the more reason to. And on that note, I'd like to wish the class of 2008 the best of luck, and a positively lovely time wherever they may go. And also to my friends and family, and everyone had to play Pomp and Circumstance because I've played that song for 3 graduations and it never gets any easier.